All right, welcome back once again. It's the episode 13. Most people would be a little scared to do a 13th episode. Not us. We're not fearing the 13. Took us a while to get here, but we had to
It
jump over a
did.
couple. We had technical difficulties,
Maybe
if
that's
you
what it
will.
was. That's what it
But
was,
here we are.
Fletch.
That's
Technical
right.
difficulties.
Always expect that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we didn't want just audio. We wanted audio and video, so we had to go an extra mile. But here we are, episode 13, and we're gonna do something a little different this time. We're gonna talk about we've been talking about looking at homes, selling homes, buying homes. Now we're talking about building a home. You can't find the one you want, so why not have it built? That's what most people would think, and some people would look into. And what does that all entail? Eric's going to let you know all the details about the pros and cons, what to look for, what to make sure you understand, all about building your own home, having your own home built. So, real quickly, I didn't do this last time in the beginning. I want to make sure I do it. We love likes and shares. So if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like, give us a share. We also are on YouTube. It's the Fletch Entertainment channel on both platforms. YouTube, subscribe button, click it, click the bell. You get all the notifications on everything we're doing here at the mothership. So, Eric, glad you had a great time on the 4th. Sounds like you've had a nice couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Weather is blazing hot now. It's a great day
Fletch,
to be inside.
what's going on here? I mean, you got something going on there. I got something going on here. It's like a theme today.
Oh, I'm thinking we might need to call this the Lake Brothers podcast or something, And I've been to both these lakes, and I'm sure you probably have been to at least one, if not both, because both of us, as we have found out, have spent a substantial amount of time in the state of Michigan
Yeah.
at different times in our lives, and that's beautiful water up there. You can't beat the fact that it's unsalted. It's perfect for that shirt. I love that.
It is. It is.
Absolutely.
Your kids love it because they don't have to worry about anything nipping at their toes, right? I mean, that's one of the beauties of getting into this lake water is, it might be on the frigid side, but listen, kids, every little fish that might come up to you is going to quickly fly away from you and not even, graze your leg because they're just so scared of you.
So much of it is so much cleaner than the ocean.
It is
typically not.
You can see like all the way down.
Yeah. Now I know there's areas in the Caribbean and all that, but hey, we're talking a lot less money to get to the Great Lakes. Beautiful water. You don't have the huge tide. You don't have the huge. There's just Great Lakes is just awesome.
It's great.
Pretty much anywhere you hit a shore of a Great Lake, you're going to be very pleased. We've been to Lake Erie. I've been to Port Huron. I've been to Kalamazoo, the other side. Of course, I've been up by the Mackinac Island. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I really hate to say it because I'm a big Ohio State fan, so it pains me to give Michigan love.
Oh,
but they are a great state of lakes.
It's a great state of lakes. That's right.
It really is. It really is. So
So
here we go. Let's kick this thing off, Eric. I actually looked into this at one point. We talked about it briefly.
Did you?
I told you about the whole thing, and it was going to be way too much home. They were trying to get us into this monster castle, So, but the thing was, hey, if you're going to spend that amount of money, why not just build and get exactly what you want?
Right.
And
Fletch, it always comes up in the conversation. I swear, with so many of my people that I work with, that at one point or another, they're like, "What if we just build? We could get exactly what we want. It's brand new. Doesn't that sound appealing?"
Exactly.
It does.
Sure.
But it's a process.
Oh yeah.
And listen, I've worked with some very talented individuals who are trying to buy a place, and right up front, they're talking to me about bringing in, all the people they know in their family and working their side of their talent together to build a house from the ground up, right? And that way they can do it at their own time. They don't have any pressure. They can chip away at it, little here, little there. So they've got cousin Bill on the phone. They've got their brother-in-law Dave. They've got their nephew Pete, and the list goes on and on. And
sure,
like I've got a pool of talent right here, and of course I'm talented, and I know I could do a lot of those things too. I mean, I've done DIY for a decade or better, really, and I have been tempted with the concept of, could I do that? And well, there's one big roadblock in all of this, and That's the almighty financing side of it. So when I first got started in chasing this dream for one of these individuals, I thought, yeah, I support your idea here. This sounds great. We just need to
Sure.
get you, some financing that will help your endeavors out. And the bank, without laughing out loud, basically laughed behind my back because they're like, you want what? What do you want? You want money for to build a house? Okay, great.
Yeah, it
Um,
sounds good on the front end. Going, hey, I know all these people. They all know how to do this stuff. We're all going to build
yeah,
this home. I just need some money. And the
yeah,
bank's going, so you want me to give you $300,000 for you and your five buddies to go build a home? They look
right.
at it differently.
Yeah. So the bottom line to them, Fletch, is they need accountability, and accountability starts with being a incorporated um, business. And if you're not an LLC, if you don't have a history of being successful with building up that company, the bank's really not going to be willing to just hand over a bunch of money because you
Oh,
know
yeah.
you are you're only as good as the history of your business is. So given that,
Reputation.
yeah, that too. So guys like this, um, they probably have the place in mind where they want to build. Either it was inherited, they've already owned it. It's not that much of a stretch to get, and so they're thinking, over time, I'm going to chip away at this, and I just, for them, they can do so, but they have to finance it themselves. So they've
Right.
got to put their own cash into it, and the beauty is that, yeah, it probably will cost, by and large, the cheapest it can possibly cost because their labor is, a lot less expensive than a company's. Their materials that they're acquiring, they're I'm sure they're trying to get as the best bulk deal that they can so that they also benefit from those kind of things. They still have permits that are going to need to be pulled through the county and have individuals from planning and development come out and survey what they're doing, what their scope of work is. They're going to need
Right.
plans submitted. That's the next step of this process. So if we put those guys aside and talking about you and me or somebody else, then they can get it done if they figure out the where they want to go. And that's a real challenge because some of these places that look appealing, it might look like a good place to build to you, but the
Sure.
builder doesn't know that until they do what's called a PERC, PERC test, a PERC test. And
Okay.
that's where they're going to check out the depth of the ground uh, until they hit like a bedrock. If they find that it's a shallow area where bedrock is present, well, guess what? It's going to cost them a lot more money to excavate.
Mm.
And a number of builders that I have had discussions with, Schumacher Homes, MI Homes, Wayne Homes, they, they include poured basements as part of their um, build out.
Okay.
If you want, I mean, you don't have to have a poured
Sure.
basement. You can do the standard slab approach, but all have to build footers so that your foundation, whatever you're building on top of, has something to rest on and will never shift, or
Right.
slightly shift. I mean, obviously, homes settle, that.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
some homes settle more, but in the effort behind digging all those footers is so that they don't settle hardly at all, because they want the consistency of the construction to remain as it was on the first day of build.
Right.
So yeah, so this is kind of like a double-edged sword. Working with couples like I have, we've visited places, I feel like we're in a movie set a lot of times when we're out on these places because it's, there's nothing around us other than maybe a farm, There might be a home off in the distance. There might be a bunch of trees, heavily saturated, around the area, so you can't get perspective.
Sure.
And you know, you just gaze in wonder, thinking, "Is this place going to work?" And you don't know until you get some testing going on there. So, how do you move forward? Well, first of all, you really need to have a builder that is going to be able to work with you. And part of the relationship that I bring to the table, of course, is making sure that builders like the kind of people that are patient and well thought out in their intentions. They've got great finances, so my job is to make sure the people I bring to the builders are solid, and the builders that I collaborate with, they need to be willing to do some of the baby steps before we commit to the project, because if this lot in itself is not going to work because of the project intent, we need to find something else. But
Oh yeah, right.
there's an expense in all this. So um, the homeowner to be has to pony up some money to get the builder out there, do the testing, before they can really commit to doing anything long term with the project.
Okay.
But okay, so say we got that part of it cleared out of the way.
Sure.
There are two ways that people can finance this dream. And you know how we've talked about buying a regular home, you just put forth a down payment, you have some closing costs, right?
Right.
Could you turn that off, honey? And the bank then, does their part with underwriting, and you end up with a loan and a monthly payment, after you close. Well, a builder, of course, would love a commitment, first of all, and a bank would love to know how soon you're going to build upon the land.
Right.
My wife and I have many times looked at plots of land in Michigan when we're up there vacationing, and thought, what if we just bought this now because it's super cheap? Some of these land properties, Fletch, are like 35 grand for
Oh wow.
more than an acre. And, obviously they're a little away from, some of the, touristy trap kind of towns that we're in love with. And that's where we spend a lot of time with. But
Sure.
nonetheless, the thought has occurred to me. I love vacationing in Michigan. Wouldn't it be great to have a place I could call my getaway in the warmer months of the year, and go up there and whatnot? But the bank says, well, it's great if you want to buy a place, but your intent to build, we need a commitment in so many years. I think for some, it's as little as 18 months. I've heard others as many as 10 years. So it depends on the bank. You got to ask these kind of questions with your lender to determine what your potential for build is. So the two different ways, of course, that's one. You buy the land first, you start making payments on it, or you just buy it outright. I mean, depends on obviously where you want to build.
Right.
Some people are going to spend 100,000 or more on a lot of land because it has more acres, or it's closer to a community that is very, very popular, right? So the price of that land is higher.
Yep.
The other way, and it actually will save you money because there's only one closing. So if there's two closings, you're going to pay two closing costs, right? Because the banks go through the steps of, we're financing this and we're going to finance that later. So the ideal way is to bring both things together and say, I'm going to buy the land, I'm going to commit to a builder, and in doing so, I'm going to put one down payment on the whole thing. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, interesting in this scenario. If I ask you, Fletch, your dream home that you saw at the builder, he's going to charge you $250,000. Your land is going to cost you $50,000. So we've got a total of $300,000 that needs to be financed. Do you expect to pay that monthly mortgage of $300,000 a month away from your close? Yes or no?
Understand the question. The entire
Um,
thing, or start paying
yeah,
the first month?
yeah. Like, so, are you? Do you think you'll be expected to pay your monthly mortgage on the $300,000 of this new construction when you close?
I would say yeah. After you close, that's when you start paying, right?
You do when you buy an existing home. You
Okay.
do not when you buy a brand new home.
You pay right away.
You don't. You don't.
Oh,
The
okay.
reason is the home doesn't exist. All that money that's allocated for the build itself has not been spent, right? I mean, the builder doesn't get like, here's all this money, builder.
Right.
That's not the way the bank works. They do. Are you familiar with draw periods?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what happens. Usually, there's I think a minimum of 3 or up to 5 different draw periods.
Okay.
So the builder actually has to do a lot of work before he gets a dime from the bank, which I thought was kind of odd. I thought it should be kind of the other way around. Like the bank gives you a little money, you do part of the project, the bank gives you a little more, you do a little more. I mean, we
Sure.
need money to do
Buy
stuff, right?
materials. Right. Right. Yeah.
That's usually how it goes, but no, that's not how the bank operates with these builders, which was a surprise to me.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Um, so they actually the first draw period that the bank will give money out to the builder, they want to see that builder like dig that basement, pour the foundation, or get the plumbing. This phase one part of the building where it's a foundation,
Okay.
virtually, and then they'll say, "Oh, okay, so you have fulfilled that obligation. We're going to give you, either a fifth or a quarter, whatever, of
Right.
the money due in." And then they have to do the same thing. They build the next phase, which is probably, the stick build side of it, where, according to the plans,
So they
all this
build it
is,
in part and then they get paid for what they've
and then
already done.
and then the
Okay.
builder gets a little more money. And yeah, so it, in the very long term, it makes great sense to me because you think of it this way: when the building is finally finished and you've done your walkthrough and you love it, all of the county engineers, planning and development, they've been through each phase of this and given their thumbs up on all of the process that got done correctly according to specs and code. Um, well, if any of that had not been done, the bank is holding the rest of their money, the builder's money. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's holding the builder accountable to getting that product exactly the way it was supposed to be done,
Sure.
before they've been given all the money. So makes a lot of sense to me on the back end. Just getting started is kind of weird, but whatever. Bank's got it figured out. So
Right.
um, so getting back to the point of this, doing all of it at once, it does force you to make some decisions, right? You have to commit to a set of plans. You have to commit to a builder, one way or another, so that the bank knows whom they're going to be working with. You have one down payment. And the beauty is, if you're only buying um, land initially, then you are only putting in a smaller chunk of change down. If you're only buying land and not the builder side, you are saving yourself down payment money as it were, and the process is slower. But when you commit to both, you're putting 15% down on the whole thing, and your monthly payments are only going to be based on however much money the bank has loaned out to the builder.
Right.
So you're not going to see that, that what you will eventually have full blown payment until the home is completely built. So does that make sense?
Yep. That's
Yeah.
what I guess. I thought the closing wouldn't happen until the home was built. I didn't know they closed before they built it, so that's why I was thinking after they close it. But the closing
Yeah.
happens before they build it. So yeah, so you
Yeah.
don't pay the full thing until you pretty much almost move into it. But
Right. Now, there are other payments that you have to work in. The bank will, just like they do for us in a home mortgage situation, they escrow payments
Okay.
for insurance.
Right.
Because believe it or not, the construction site itself needs to be insured by you, because it's your materials, right? You're funding this project, and what if a tornado comes by and just swoops it all and sends it all away? We need insurance for that. So there's going to be a policy in place, and I think those cost between $900 and $1,200 annually. Very typical of what a homeowner's insurance policy is. But at some point, the insurance may need to change based on it having material inside. Like, what if they start bringing in all the appliances? What if there's some other fancier stuff in the home? And because this home is not occupied, the best kind of insurance you should have is something that would cover like vandalism, that kind of policy,
Right.
that unoccupied, and that is a much higher policy annually. That's more like a $3,000 to $3,600 policy. But again, if nobody's there, the crews are there in the day. They're not necessarily going to work there on the weekend.
Right.
So there are windows of time where if there are thieves that are keeping eyes on this and want to take advantage of whatever's been put into the home, well, they're going to do that, and you need insurance to cover your
Right.
Your home
Sure.
for that kind of thing. So those are just some eye-opening parts of the experience. Now, the real meat and potatoes is the actual keeping eyes on it through a daily, weekly kind of thing. And
Yep.
that's where a good agent comes into play, because he can visit the property on your behalf, get updates from whoever's working there. And listen, I have no problem talking to anybody and asking them, where are we at in this? Where are you anticipating on being in your next phase? Just so that the eventual homeowner is reassured in a timeline fashion of what they're expecting, because delays happen, Fletch.
Oh yeah.
Weather delays create issues. Materials, as we've talked about, home building prices are very high right now, because we have trouble with delivery, right? We didn't have the demand. I mean,
Right.
all the demand kind of took a sidestep, but we had trouble getting product into the stores, So
Sure. Yeah. Now, so what, to clarify for some people, just because I know I would be asking this question,
sure,
and I consider myself Joe Moron, but
you're not Joe Moron. But it's good that you're asking questions always.
what we're talking about is like custom built home.
Well,
where
yes and no. I mean,
kind of like go pick out your land, and then you get a builder or whatever. Versus, oh hey, look, man, there's a whole subdivision going in over here, and you go talk to them, and then you're kind of choosing between 4 or 5 different homes, and you don't have a whole lot of customizable ability that you can't say, "Hey, move that staircase over here." Yeah, it's going to be the way they kind of have it set up. But there's also like, oh, do you want better floors? That cost you a little more money. Do you want better appliances? Cost you a little more money. And that's where things that look good and number wise start to increase in number wise when you start wanting nicer stuff. That's what
Yeah.
we kind of were going through. It was a builder was going in and building homes left and right, and then people trying to sell them, building them
Right.
before they're sold,
Right.
which is a little bit different than that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
from the
So
financing standpoint, it's kind of, but I mean, as far as you having like, I mean, is it possible? I guess when you go with a custom design, you sit down, you literally say, "What do you want?" Yeah, I'm going to walk in. I want to see this. I'm going to do that, and they just draw something up, or do the custom designers kind of have their own things already pre-done?
great questions, Fletch. You're familiar with the signs, like on a subdivision that's coming soon or that sort of thing, and it'll have the language starting at a
Yep.
number, right? Starting at 250,000 or starting at 300,000.
Right.
So in those cases, yeah, I guarantee you are working with what I'd like to call a cookie cutter house. That's they've got so many plans to choose from in a ranch, 2-story. I don't think people are intentionally building tri-levels anymore, but
Right.
we see a lot of raised ranches, ranch or 2 stories, with basements without. So those models that they may have pre-built so you can walk through them are a great visual enhancements to the consumer. If they don't have those, you really kind of have to know from the perspective of shopping at existing homes what these things are going to look like for you as you look at their plans. But a good builder has some inventory that you can go look at. So you want to check that out. If you're in the market for a new construction, get at least some concept of the walkthrough experience, because like you said, what if you want an extra larger closet in the kitchen because your pantry size and their pantry size are two different things?
Right.
And it's not that it's going to be that. It depends on the layout, obviously. If they've but a staircase right next to a pass-through, like from the garage area into the main living area, and then they put the pantry, and then they've put a staircase down to the basement, there's no room to increase that pantry, right? Because you're going to take away from spaces that actually have to be utilized for those functions, right? And it just is not going to work. So now you're changing something on the other side of the room, and in doing so, that is going to be a reconfiguration, and the expense will lie in getting a architect or at least a draftsman, whomever the builder is partnering with, or if they have one as part of their company, to reconfigure all areas that you want to redesign and make sure they're complementary to the structurally sound side of the building, right? Because you can't reinvent where the load bearing walls are. You have to have those where they are. So and also, to your point, what if you want a little nicer countertop or a little nicer cabinetry or flooring, and or just even the knobs on the cabinets themselves? Yeah, all that's little stuff. Like, let's just say
most of that's going to be the very lower end. Typically, not
oh
all the
yeah,
time, but typically. So therefore, it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. You don't want linoleum floors, in your kitchen. Well, it's going to cost you. Yeah, and you find out quickly most of the time. Sometimes they're doing specials, or hey, we'll give you $80,000 worth of upgrades for free, or blah blah blah, whatever. But it's typically the cheapest what's in there, so they're trying to get more money out of you by upgrades.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I again, I have talked with so many builders that add the poured basement in for nothing, right? But I recall one of our buddies who said if he worked with a real estate agent, they would not give him the free poured basement. And I thought, that's just their way of making sure that somebody who is quite savvy in the arena of, I know what a building should look like, and I'm going to be your asset to the process.
Right.
Let's just keep him out of the picture, because we're going to make the consumer feel like if you bring him in, we're going to give you less. Which is, it's unfortunate, but so just know that you can do it alone. If you're savvy, you can have an advocate work for you on your behalf and save you time and hopefully save you some money, because of course, if he sees some opportunities that he can discuss with you and the builder ahead of time, and that of course will save you some money. So
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely, man. Interesting stuff. I have a friend that's pondering building a home just because he wants to get out in the country and get some land where he can hunt and build a home out there and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
a couple places he's found where the houses that pre-exist, they are phenomenally crazy. I mean, he could afford it, but he just doesn't want to go that route. You're talking north of 450, for a home, and then all
Wow.
land and stuff. So
Wow. With the land?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So land's land. So there's that's at least it's not on a half acre. So he's
Right.
got that does make it not sound too bad when it's so. But I don't know if the land was in the cost, and I can't. I'd have to double check if the whole thing was that, or that's just what the house was and the land was separate. So.
Yeah.
But man, so it's certainly don't want to make it sound like you don't want to build, because building is great, but there's just certain avenues to get it done. Obviously, you really want to go. Your bank's going to insist you go with LLC. Otherwise, if you have a house that you've got paid for, then they just say, okay, well then you finance it yourself. Because
Yeah, I mean
borrow against
that's
your house or whatever.
right. Borrow against your house, right?
Right.
That's one way of generating the funds.
Right. And I hear and see and read all the time of people that are like, hey, I had somebody do some work in my house, and they did a little bit and they never showed up again. Or the first question people ask is, did you already pay them? They're like, yeah.
There you go.
I can't remember the last time somebody already paid somebody and got it finished. It's a broken record where, well, I gave them all the money, $600 or whatever, and then they left. They never showed up again. I can't get hold of them. Unfortunately, all these now, and sometimes they are friends, which is really bad. But sometimes these people, they're not LLCs, they're side guys, and so they need whatever they can get. And sometimes they cut their losses, thinking you're not going to take them to court because you don't have the money to do that, and blah blah blah, whatever. So when you're doing stuff like that, and that's what the banks are doing. Hey, you build it, and then the money will come. You build more, and then the money will come.
Well said.
They're protecting themselves.
That's exactly right. You build it, and the money will come. I like that.
Yeah. It's my entertainment movie intervening inside of me. So
that's right.
So if you're looking to build, don't be discouraged. It's just
definitely
different.
not. I mean,
it's just different.
It's a different approach, and it's a process, right? So you have to be patient and seek reputable, builders. Even if you are thinking about community first, like you like the fact that that community is, where you want to live. If the particular builder that is owning that subdivision and they're only allowing their builds to go in, well, make sure you do your research on the types of homes that those guys put together, because you get what you pay for, and You just don't want to buy lipstick on a pig.
Right, right, exactly,
You
exactly.
know, I mean, so just make sure that it's a sound decision, and yeah, it'll be a great thing once it's all complete.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, questions on that kind of stuff. I know there's a ton of them. I have a ton of them. Definitely hit us up with questions on that and any other topics. We always welcome the questions.
Yeah.
Eric, a realtor, real quick, we got to run this on the bottom. This is where you can get a hold of
Hey,
Eric
that's my
directly.
website.
EricGroffRealtor.com. He's with NavX Realty. He, of course, is navigating you. He wants to navigate you to your home, your dream home, your home sweet home.
Yes, I
So,
do.
and it's a passion for him. There's no doubt. If you've watched this if you watched it one time or any episodes, you can see that it's somebody who is doing what he wants to do, which makes life so much easier and nicer to deal with when you like what you're doing and stuff.
I'm
There's no
telling you
doubt.
what.
So,
Yeah, this is a great career for me right now to be involved in helping people do what they are dreaming about. I'd love to have a home or improve a home. I mean, I
sure.
love good conversations of DIY. I love being in the DIY. So I've got a lot of information, experience that I can bring to the table just to get the conversations going, because that is where the real dreams start turning into closer parts of your reality. So,
Right,
you know,
right. And and I've noticed just talking to you these 13 episodes, you're not just a guy who got into real estate to try to get good paychecks.
yeah,
It's not about getting paid.
it's
Of
not the
course, yes,
money.
like anybody else, you want to get paid in what you do,
The money
and
comes, right?
right. But
Yeah.
I mean, I've learned things from you that I didn't even know were dealt with real estate and other things. So it's like, wow, this guy really knows a lot, and even versus someone going, oh, I'll have to find out about that because I don't really know about that. You rarely do that. You've been
Oh
doing it
no,
for a
I
number of
still
years.
there's
Well, some
listen,
things, but
there are some things,
sure,
Fletch. I am
but not
nowhere near
everything.
know
There's a lot
everything.
of things that you know already, which is it shows the level of passion and interest in what you're doing versus, hey, what's the hottest house that's out available? Who can I get to buy it? That kind of thing. So
Yeah, it's,
right. So I mean, I've learned a lot, and it's very interesting, and I find it very interesting as well. And I'm sure others do too.
thanks,
Other
Fletch. I
things
appreciate
of
that.
interest. Oh, sure, sure, absolutely. It's well deserved. Other things of interest that we love to talk about here is local food places to eat,
Food.
local eatery.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, looking at a couple of guys who love food, love great tasting food. Most people do. So we've named off a lot of different restaurants here locally. Some of them are local. Like a few of them are worth mentioning, even though they're not necessarily local. It might be a chain, but it's still worth mentioning. So those are fewer and far between. The local stuff's really rise to the top. This week, I'm going to bring up a little bit different on a local, and that is the DIY, do it yourself,
Love
of
that.
local food,
You
and
had
that's
me at
Dots Market,
DIY.
and that's Dots Market.
Dots.
Anybody that's even driven near Kettering has probably known or heard of Dots Market. And
Yep.
I've never lived in Kettering, but I had a lot of friends, Bauer, that street, very well. We know who
That's
lived there
right.
years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've never shopped there until when I had a big fiasco a few weeks back trying to find ribs. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to call Dots and go down there. And I call them. They got ribs hanging from the rafters, where everybody else is out of ribs. So I go down there. I said, do I need to have you set aside? There's my daughter.
Hi, you're right.
Okay. Come on.
Hey.
Okay.
Not today.
Let me finish. So, love Emma.
I
So,
love Emma.
other places, it's like, oh, we don't have those today, and we're not going to get them till Thursday. And so I'm on phone with Dots Market, and I'm like, do I need to have you set aside a couple? I'm on my way. They're like, we got plenty. We got plenty of ribs. They pull the membrane off and everything. So this past weekend we did
Wait. What? Say that again.
the
They
membrane.
pull the membrane off for you?
Oh yeah. They had it all set up, ready to grill. Ready
Man,
to.
that's killer. That's
Oh
because
yeah, it's
one of the
and
hardest steps in cooking ribs, of course, is getting that stuff off the back. But you have
and I
to.
was and I was concerned about not doing it well enough because I've never done it before. And then here they just do it for you.
That's
Two
awesome.
racks of ribs, two full slabs of baby back ribs. It was like $15 something. Incredible.
What?
I mean, I know. I was just blown
Excuse
away.
me,
And this
I
past
gotta go to
week,
the dots.
and this past weekend, they had New York strips. Was my wife's favorite steak. They were
Yeah.
nice and thick,
Yeah.
$8.99 a pound. So we got two
Love
of them.
it.
Each of them were a little bit less than a pound. It was like 12 something bucks for steak. We grilled some potatoes in aluminum foil with seasoning and butter. The whole meal was less than 20 bucks, and I couldn't have thought I could have gone anywhere else and been happier than that meal made me. It was as
Yeah.
happy as anything I've ever ate. So I want to say, just, if you love grilling out, and it's worth. I live 20 minutes away from Dots Market, and it's worth for me to go there and get it there. And that place is always busy. It's crazy. It's good for them. I mean, I love them. So
There's
and you can't
there
call
should-
in. You can
there
call in
should
meat
be
orders
a,
there.
Sorry to interrupt. There should be a location near Bellbrook too.
That's farther south, right?
Farther south. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
our,
yeah. They're
For our viewers that
Southerners of the Miami Valley.
yeah. There's one down that way too. So
If you're down there in
I,
the Sugar Creek, Bellbrook area, I think there's one down there too. Yeah.
Ironically, I've only been in that store maybe 4 or 5 times, and because the other one is closer to my house too.
So convenient, yeah. It's a wonderful place, and talk about
Nostalgic.
a home place.
It's nostalgic.
That's an old style store.
It's an old store.
Family owned, and they are doing it right. And I told my wife we'll have to start testing out some other things in their deli, the macaroni salad, the potato salads, and all that, because I know they've pretty well known for that stuff there. Good tasting stuff. Dots this, dots that. So we're gonna sift our way through the Dots genre, throughout the summer. So one other thing I want to bring up real quick, I hate to eat up all the time, is Burger Club of Dayton is back. I started the Burger Club of Dayton. It's been probably 4.5 years now. COVID-19 killed it since March of last year until this month, July 2021. The Burger Club of Dayton is back. First place is going to be at a local place, Buckeye Jake's. That's out 35 on the way to Eaton in Westerville, which is before Eaton. And basically, to give you a real quick one, you can look it up on Facebook. It's a Facebook page, Burger Club of Dayton. And every month, I put out, like at the beginning of the month, where we're going to go. We all meet there at a predestined date time. It's usually a Monday or a Tuesday, because usually Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays are a lot more busier for places. And we all show up, try to sit as close together as we can, and that's pre-COVID numbers. It's just however the table is situated. Right. Usually it's around 6:30, and show up when you can, 6:30 or thereafter, and eat a burger, eat a chicken sandwich, eat a salad, eat whatever you want. You don't have to eat burgers. We just call it the Burger Club of Dayton. And we actually go to some places that don't even have burgers. That's okay. We went to a barbecue joint, Company 7. It's okay. We just want to go to as much local
that's Company
food
7
as possible.
So good.
Wasn't it? No doubt.
It was so good. Yes.
And the cool thing is, I've lived in Dayton my whole life, much as you, and started doing this, and it's amazing how many places I've never been to. I mean, we've been doing this for almost 4 years. We missed a year, so 3 years of actually doing it, and I've probably only been to 2 or 3 places that I actually had been to before the Burger Club. Most of the C-Jacks, never heard of it until the Burger Club. Bennett's I had been to before. I'd never been to Sliders, even though I'd heard of it. I've never been there. Tanks. There's just so many places that have such great food. Right. And now there's just so many more places. Dayton's really growing with these microbreweries. Loose Ends in Centerville, my sister says, is an incredible place. Warped Wing, Lock 27. Dayton is a great place to eat. So we're trying to bring it to you on the Burger Club of Dayton. So you can go to the site, see the pictures, and link or click in there that you want to be friended and follow. So when we announce it on Facebook as an event, you'll get the notification. So I'm done. Now it's your turn.
Listen, I don't think I can. I don't think I can bring anything to the table with that kind of pitch. I mean, I got nothing. I mean, I ate not a local, but a chain restaurant called Club Oceano recently, and had the best filet mignon I've had in years. It was
you said that was in the green, right?
It is in the green, yes, right across from Brio, and
cool.
Just amazing. But the prices are ridiculous, and so I can't really say go there because unless you've got
if you
$100
don't
or
mind-
so to
right.
like throw
If you don't
around.
mind
I mean,
paying for big time steak, and some people
Right.
don't. I mean,
Yeah.
if I had it, I wouldn't. But then those are good places, and you do get. I've been to Carver's. That steak melted in my mouth, but it
Yeah.
was $30 steak. $30
Yeah.
steak. That sounds pretty bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is
To me, that's a lot of
42.
money.
It is. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I looked at
Exactly.
the prices and thought this is absurd, but it was for a celebration of one of my recent closings. So I was grateful to have the culmination of good things come together.
Sure.
We celebrate.
Sure,
That's what,
absolutely.
That's what life is for.
And I'll throw down a gauntlet, for lack of a better term, next week, because I know we both like this, and it's
Yeah.
almost all local. Let's talk about Chinese food.
Really? Okay.
Next week, let's meet, because I know one. I'll probably name three, but I
Yeah.
know one right off the bat, and they're right around the corner. And they're all, other than your P.F. Chang's, just about everything is a local Chinese place, and there's so
Yeah.
many great ones in Dayton. So let's
Yeah.
talk. We'll do some
Okay.
Chinese food offerings next week on our next show. So you have
Fair
that to
enough.
look forward to. So tune in. Episode
Okay.
14
14.
is Chinese food. Yummy. I think it's on my mind because I told my wife, "You want a Chinese today?" And we're going to do it later in the week. So
Okay.
we're doing Wahlburgers today. You can buy Mark Wahlberg, the Wahlberg. They got their meat in sale at the stores. We've done it before. You get like 4 patties for or maybe it's 8 patties for like $10, and they're excellent. It's excellent meat, cooked great on the
Wow.
grill, melts in your mouth.
Okay.
Wahlburgers, and there's actually a Wahlburgers restaurant in Cincinnati downtown, and we've been
Is
there
there?
too. We went there for it. Oh yeah, and it's
Okay.
really good, really good. Yep.
All right.
Okay, that's enough talking food. I'm getting hungry.
Food. I'm telling you what, we better eat.
So, absolutely.
Just like this episode's airing, it's right around lunchtime.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hope you enjoyed it this week. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, obviously, we'll do it again. Facebook,
As
like
always.
and a share, YouTube, subscribe, and the bell. And questions. Just we can't get enough questions. So, we look forward to answering any questions you need. You can do it with Eric straight at his real estate website, or you can pop in here and give us a question on the show in the comments. So, thanks for tuning in. The
thanks
man
for
himself is a
having me,
co-writer
as
of the. Yeah, absolutely. He's a co-writer of the music you're going to hear on the way out. So enjoy it and have a great week. And we will see you back here next week.